This is a group presentation for a revamp of Logan's Roadhouse Steakhouse. Group is made up of Barry Dewitt, which is me speaking, Teresa Thompson, Mike Brand, and Patrick Forbes. So we're jumping to the first frame, which is the structural frame. So as you can see, we've got a couple of major issues. Declining sales over the last year or so has put the restaurant in obviously a financial situation. So evaluating the money that they're paying their employees when they're not needed, and then the actual physical number of staff that is in the restaurant on a regular basis. So there's a couple of solutions to this problem, one of which could be repurposing that time of the employees that are there, so they could be cleaning the restaurant, they could be doing some daily upkeep, maintenance, restocking, those kind of things, if the restaurant needed those things done on a regular basis. Another option would be reducing the hours of pretty much across the board. This would require things like kind of categorizing your employees. Top people get more hours, lower people less hours, and hopefully employee retention would just take care of itself. Last of which solution is a layoff, a possible layoff. So evaluating which employees needed to go and which employees you wanted to retain. Obviously, the most ideal structure for the restaurant would be a store manager, basically the person who's running the restaurant on a day-to-day basis. Shift managers or shift leads report to the store manager, and they're obviously responsible for each of their shifts while they're there. So they are the go-to person for the waiters, waitresses, front of house, cooks, and kitchen personnel. So as you can see the breakout, we would keep ideally 5 cooks, dishwashers in the kitchen, 7 waiters on the floor, and 1 hostess that will report to the shift manager on duty. So moving on to more issues. There are a number of employees hanging out, so we've got very inconsistent customer service. We've got waiters, waitresses kind of chatting on the side, wasting time. Some other ones that are, doing their best to keep up and filling the gap of the other ones who are wasting time. There's also no motivation. So there's no benefit or no real motivation to get these employees engaged and get them to come in and come as their best self for every shift. So dealing with a lot of these structural issues is kind of what's leading us to restructure the company and look at our staffing as a whole. So one way or some other suggestions that we could do to help with this, help with the customer service, help with customers engaging in their waiters, waitresses, kind of helping the service experience as a whole. Technology, so tabletop technology, ordering games for a fee, being able to self-service, which obviously is the next suggestion, which would allow them to order drinks, dessert, appetizers, even pay at the table, games to occupy the kids, those kind of things that could be rolled into a tabletop technology type device. There are a number of restaurants that have these. So far they've been fairly well accepted. So looking to those kind of things which will allow us to structure the restaurant a little better and keep our staffing at the right amount at the right time. Our next frame, which is our human resources frame. So there's a number of things that HR is looking to do as part of this initiative. Obviously, they want to make sure that Logan's has sufficient staff and also has the guidelines and the rules around those staff so that those people can deliver effectively and actually perform as expected. So the second point is helping the employees meet the challenge of their professional life, give them tools and training. So training would be available. There would be a fairly scheduled and laid out training program for every new employee as part of their onboarding. Expectations, performance levels, all those things would be covered as part of their orientation or their onboarding. Allowing them to engage and keeping them challenged is obviously some major key points to allow the wait staff or the employees as a whole to be more engaged and allow them to get excited and motivated about what it is they do and possibly share the restaurant's overall passion with serving people and food and whatnot to their employees, so that so all those things kind of funnel down into the employees, and it shows and obviously results in better customer service. So the last point, which is obviously the harder point, being that there's probably going to be some layoffs, is allowing or making sure that human resources gives a fair package to those people that will be displaced or laid off, so that they're treated fairly and they actually leave with just as good of a perception of Logan's as they had possibly when they started. So moving on into human resources, this slide is actually a pretty cool slide. The slide was coined the human resources engine. So obviously the cogs, interdependent on each other, run as a whole. When they're running well, runs as a single unit. So obviously we want the restaurant, excuse me, and the company as a whole to operate just like cogs. When they're all running, they run as a single unit. Everything works well. So these are kind of the steps through each cog, which kind of runs through the whole gamut of what we expect to invest in our people and how we plan on building them. And obviously in the beginning, I'm sorry, starts with the people. So bringing them in, training them, recruiting them, getting them trained on things that help them be better at what they do. So obviously that a lot of people are driven by money, so that ends up in compensation with tips and performance bonuses and things like that. Obviously this would be something that's fed and kept going and built and enhanced on, so that our human resources engine can make the company obviously more efficient and more profitable by building better people, and obviously the end result is giving better service to their customers. So next we move on to the symbolic frame. So obviously Logan's needs to look at how we can get back to our core. So what started the business in '91? What was the reason and the passion and the real reason that Logan's was created? So obviously Southern style flavor, and local appeal. It's kind of ironic, I'm the most Southern sounding person, so Southern style, hey, it fits. So Southern style or Southern flavor, obviously that's a huge thing, and Logan's tries to deliver that today. Obviously with this revitalization, this restructuring, they'll be able to deliver it better, and then kind of adapt each local restaurant to whatever the local flavor is. So me being in Memphis, barbecue you would think would be on the menu at Logan's in Memphis. Somewhere else, based on whatever the local flavor is, then you'd adjust the menu to be adapted to that various locale. So trying to get our people to think backwards, to move forward, obviously getting back to the basics, why we started what we started, and building on that as we go. So obviously staying with the symbolic frame, building the culture that built Logan's Roadhouse. So obviously the culture, you think Southern flavor, you think courtesy, you think hospitality, you think all these things that you think of when you think of the South and Southern style and Southern flavor. So building that culture so that people feel more welcome, more at home when they come and have a meal at your restaurant. They obviously want to relax like they're actually in a house in the South, and those type behaviors are just ingrained in the culture as a whole. So as part of that is kind of creating an open, collaborative environment. So we've got no top-down system. Any idea is a good idea. So anybody can come up with an idea. Obviously, building in ways to encourage and nurture people to think that way and contribute ideas to better the company, better the service, and obviously better the company as a whole, so that the company is both more profitable and providing better service. And finally, in the symbolic frame, traditions. So nobody likes change necessarily. Well, let's rephrase that. a lot of people don't like change. There are some people that like change. A lot of people don't. So obviously evaluating old traditions, seeing if there's a better way to do it. I'm of the thought that there's always a better way to do whatever it is that you're doing. So explore those options, take suggestions, encourage suggestions from your people, so that you can break those traditions and build new traditions. Just because it's the old way doesn't make it the best way. So that's spot on. Looking at the culture that we're trying to build in the restaurant is encouraging ideas. Any idea is a good idea. It doesn't matter how far-fetched or how innovative or how new or how off the wall it is. Anything is a step in the right direction. The key there with building that idea is also building the culture. So getting them to think that way, getting them to contribute however they want to contribute and however they're most comfortable contributing, is getting them to build the culture as a whole moving forward. So now on to our final frame, which is the political frame. So a political frame, there are a lot of political issues going on in the restaurant right now. There's wait staff that's divided, which is obviously creating an issue with customer service. They've got wait staff that's been there for a while, and then you've got obviously newer staff, fairly divided. The wait staff is fairly cliquish. That goes for the kitchen staff as well. Obviously, there's a bit of a divide in both areas. So evaluating those people for bad behavior and eliminating so bad behavior and political agendas that are forcing people to make decisions and pick one group or one idea over another just because they're being pressured, obviously exemplifies bad behavior. So those are kind of people that we're going to look at for possibly eliminating as part of a layoff, so that we can weed out that bad behavior and create the culture that that we expect our employees to exemplify. So leading by example is another way. So store managers and shift leads, they are expected to not be buddy-buddy, not to pick friends, not to pick favorites. From a political aspect, you don't want your managers or your leads favoring one or two people and the rest of the staff noticing, or giving preferential treatment, or bigger tables with bigger tip potential to certain waiters or waitresses just because they're your friends. So obviously that's not anything we want to happen or anything that we want to be as a part of the new culture going forward. So obviously, as a part of this, managers and leads will be trained to identify this behavior. General staff, as part of the onboarding, will be given a limited amount of that training just to spot what's going on. Obviously, we expect them to report it up through management, just so we can continue to keep the political aspects and political agendas at bay. And finally, with the political frame, collaboration. Obviously, collaboration breaks down a lot of political walls. Allowing everybody to contribute an idea or contribute to the solution is always a good thing. So that builds consensus. It limits issues with people trying to undercut other people, because now you're actually airing your idea before somebody can steal it. So obviously, if you say it out loud, it's your idea. Everybody heard you say it, and nobody's going to run around and steal your idea and try to go take that to somebody else, to another manager, and now you're kind of out of the way. So obviously reward innovative ideas, good ideas. Like I said earlier, no idea is a bad idea. So the most innovative, we could look at things like performance bonuses, weekly gift cards for the people for contributing the best idea or the most innovative idea, or an annual bonus for ideas that actually can be implemented, things of those sorts. And then finally, transparency. So with any open collaboration or open collaborative system or open transparent organization, communication has to be two-way. Leadership needs to let everybody know what it's thinking and how it's thinking, And the same thing going up. Communication goes two ways, obviously. So even the dishwasher can voice an opinion straight to a manager so that it gets addressed and let them know what they're thinking. Communication at every level, and obviously the communication needs to be two ways so that people are not guessing what's going to happen if leadership is thinking about restructuring or if leadership is planning on eliminating jobs or whatever. That way you keep the political aspect out of it and people trying to get their own little cliques together just because they want to surround an idea that maybe one or two of them had, and they're unified by a common idea. So this finishes up our presentation. Obviously some of the images came from Logan's Roadhouse, so we hope you enjoyed the presentation, and thank you.